To kind of kick things off, for those of you that maybe have not started a traction account, I'll just go through some foundational things, and then we'll get into connecting the Keystone account and kind of show you how the bill integration works. But getting started, so you have this little dashboard button on the left side here. It says, let's get started. A couple of things to point out that's going to be important to go over first before we get into the bills is setting up your entities. It doesn't really matter what plan you have with Traction. We allow you to have as many different entities as you want. On my screen here, you'll see I've got two entities set up. I've got the Hess Trucking and I got the Stark Farms entity. Each of these entities have their own sets of books, their own balance sheet, their own income statement, Schedule F. So it's the full thing that you get with that entity. And the cool part about Traction is that you can combine these entities together on reports. So if you want to look at one balance sheet for all the entities, it's very easy to do that with Traction. Also, we do get some questions about connecting banks and credit cards. You'll see the step number 2 in getting started. You don't have to do this step. I do have my farm checking account connected with Huntington Bank. There's literally thousands of banks to pick from. I only have my farm checking account connected. I don't have my kids' accounts connected that have the same bank. But what's really nice about that is if you'll see some examples today, if you have checks and things that clear the bank, they'll automatically flow into Traction, into the account register. And we just try to do that to save you time. Time is of essence, right? So it's really getting the account register filled out as quickly as possible so you can do some data entry with it. The third option here is setting up your revenue and expense account. So very important step, one of the most important things that you'll do when you first get started, and even throughout the course you use Traction, you'll have to most likely add accounts and remove accounts. But this here, we do make it very simple to get started. So if you pick out the entity up above, the Stark Farms, you'll see I've got quite a few accounts already picked. All the basic revenue accounts, expense accounts that you would expect to see from a farming perspective is in here. And the nice thing is we've done a lot of work with these different accounts to, as they're already set up and you pick, they actually are tied to the Schedule F. So it's doing lots of things for you as you pick these out. So it's very simple to do. You can just click the little check mark buttons here, the ones that you're 100% sure that you got to have on your farm books. You can pick those out, hit the save button, and it adds it to your chart of accounts. So I'm not going to deep dive too much into the chart of accounts, but on the left side of the screen, once you start, getting past that initial setup, you'll always be able to go into the chart of accounts area here and look at things and look how things are laid out. There are some really cool things that we do here for you. For example, I've got all my corn, hay, beans, and wheat accounts set up for my revenue side. You can add headers here. So these headers, I have crop sales here. You can kind of tie things to a header so that way things are kind of grouped together. So that way when you start looking at your reports, things are going to be kind of grouped in a way that makes sense to you. So we will kind of see this in just a little bit here when I look at the report side of things, but there really is no limit here to what you can do with the chart of accounts. You can add your own accounts anytime you want just by hitting that revenue folder. There's the 3 dots over here you click on. Right there, so you can add the headers, you can add accounts. It's very easy to do. And again, we've got all this, the simple farming accounts that you would expect to see already there to pick from. And you can pick on these accounts and then change the names if you want. So just a ton of flexibility on the accounts. And this is really what setting up the bills part of Traction. So once you get this, created here and feeling pretty good with these revenue, expense accounts, asset accounts, liabilities, you get these all set up here. That's where we kind of get into the bills area. And before I get into the bills area, I'll just take a quick pause for any questions that we might have so far. Okay. And again, if you have any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat. Okay, so getting into the bills for Keystone. So one of the cool things that we just launched here a few months ago was the ability to integrate your Keystone account to be able to just pull in bills automatically. And to kind of deep dive into this feature a little more, what you'll want to do on the very bottom on the left nav, you have this little tools option down here, and it says integrations. The integrations is where you go to connect to a lot of different things, even beyond the Keystone. You can connect to John Deere Operations Center, Climate Field View, and I've got Tax 1099 connected to mine. But you'll see the little green check mark here for the ones I have connected to. Um, for those of you watching, you won't have this Keystone Cooperative demo. You'll have just Keystone Cooperative to connect to. But since this is a kind of a test account that I'm using here, that's why this is appearing this way. But if I go to my Keystone demo here and go to View Details, go to Edit. What you'll have to do here when you first get connected to Keystone, you'll have to have your customer number. You'll pick out what entity it belongs to. And like you saw earlier today, so far I have two entities. I'll just use the Stark Farms. You'll set up a contact. And so I have Keystone Cooperative as a contact already added to my list here. And you'll pick the start date. So the synced start date is really important. The date that you pick here is the date from that point forward is when all the bills will start to flow into Traction. So for my example today, I had to kind of roll it back to 2024, just so we can have some bills to show you and show you what they look like. You can add more accounts. If you have more than one Keystone account, you can hit that button. You can do the exact same process here and adding that to Traction. So there's really no limit there what you can do. So once you connect to Keystone, on the left side here, I want you to focus on the import queue and the bills button. So I'll be kind of flowing back and forth between these two buttons here. So the bills area, just to be clear, the bills area are bills that I've already entered into Traction. So there's actually two here that you're looking at. I've got one already added to Keystone that I've already approved. It looks good. It's just waiting to be paid. I have another bill for TrueLand equipment that exact same process. I already put the bill in. It's just waiting to be paid. The bills that are coming in from Keystone, they'll land into this import queue on the left. So if you go to import queue, the whole concept here is that these bills are for you to, at this point, just to view and to approve or delete. You have some flexibility here. These bills coming in are not automatically entered into your accounting system. This is more of like a preview screen of your bills, and you can kind of see the amounts here, the bill number. Everything's just sitting here for you to look at. So we'll kind of take a look at this and we'll focus on the first one here, this $285.16 bill. So this one, I have not entered it into my Traction accounting system yet, and I want to do that. So what you'll do here is to click on the bill, and you get to this screen. So everything, you can see everything is actually filled in for you for the most part, and this is the beauty of the integration. We're just trying to save you time from having to manually do these bills from scratch. This one here is a pretty easy one. I've seen a lot of bills where you had just like dozens of lines of things that you're purchasing, and so they can get quite complicated. But you'll see the bill number here. It all looks pretty good for the most part. There's these little red triangle buttons on the left. So that's kind of letting you know that you have work to do yet. So what it was trying to do here is trying to take this line item that says strike 3. Looks like you purchased 4 items of it for a total price of $175. So what you want to do is click on that row And on the right-hand side is where you want to match that to the item in traction. So the program is trying to do a lot of work here for you. Now, I've already added my products ahead of time, but you can go ahead and just start typing the name of the product. We have a database already set up in Traction of all the inputs. So it's going to try its best to, create less work for you for data entry wise to try to do some matching here. But this strike 3 here, I already have that item already added to my list of products. And as you can see here, it turned that little red triangle to a green check mark. So that's just telling you that it's approved. So there's really nothing else for me to do here other than hit apply. And exact same for this one here. It's kind of strange I had the exact same product name here, but we'll just go ahead and go with it. Again, the product's all there, the information, just hit apply. And it looks like I had one more red triangle down here. Must have been some state tax here. And so I will go ahead and pick that out as well. And you can add new items here. Again, once you pick those out, the cool thing here for discounts and taxes and fees is that you can assign down here the fee and discounts to those items above and just hit apply. The running joke is, a lot of times when you start buying things, like especially seed, there's lots of discounts and early pay things. And, what exactly did you actually pay for a unit of seed? So the software is going to really tell you that information pretty quick here. And if you're actually lining things up to your inventory, it's actually putting things into inventory at that point so you can later use them on your field records. But this one here looks pretty good. If you wanted to add other things here, you can. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. And we'll just hit the Save and Import button and hit Yes there. And that button that bill disappears from the import queue. If you go back to bills, you'll see that under Keystone is that new bill that we just approved is sitting right here. And if for whatever reason you need to go back and make a change to that bill, no problem. Just hit the little 3 button there, go to Edit Bill. You're kind of right back where you were before. So we'll do one more there from the import queue. We had another one here. A lot of these are just smaller dollar numbers here, but I believe I had another one here that was around $300. There you go, $366. So I've got one more here I want to approve. Again, just kind of ignoring the due dates and stuff, but the bill number looks good. Again, I have potash and MAP here, so I'll just click on the items. And for this one, I had potash, apply, and we'll pick out MAP for that one, hit apply. Same thing down below where we had taxes. It's already picked out for me there. And the more times you do this and approve these bills, there is some smart learning that Traction's doing on these things. So once you pick out potash and you buy potash again in the future, it will actually do all the matching automatically for you. So thing to point out there, the more times you do this, the easier it gets. We'll hit save and import, looks good. Again, going back to bills. Now I've got 3 bills sitting in my my area right here for bills, and there's the $366. I'll just pause for just a few minutes and just see if anyone had any questions. I will jump into some other things here on the left-hand side. Because we're putting some bills in here, there's some reports I want to show you. If you go down to reports, accounting, lots and lots of reports. We'll touch on the field profit center report in just a little bit. The inventory side of things, I think, is really important to show you this report, the inventory report. So as we approve bills coming in from Keystone, they're automatically going into my inventory in Traction. And then from here, we can do a couple of things. We can either do a manual field record or we can do an integrated machine field record. which means if you have John Deere or Climate, it actually pulls in the field records for you. And in either of those options, whether it's a manual or a machine, automated machine record coming in, it will deplete the inventory here and assign the actual cost right back to the field. And really, that's where the magic happens for us. For those of you that, if you go back to the early 1990s, I was with FarmWorks Software for quite a few years, and this was always one of those bread and butter things that we did quite well that people really enjoyed was the integration of the accounting back to the field record keeping and tying everything to one central hub, which is exactly what we're doing with Traction. The other things here, so go to reports again. Lots of reports here to look at. You've got the balance sheet, the income statement report, and really, if I look at the income statement report, we can view this for just one entity or for all of them at one time. If I just hit update, it will update that report and just show one income statement report on the screen for that one entity. The cool thing about the reports, and just like that inventory report that you just looked at a few minutes ago, you'll see that these values here on the right-hand side are clickable. So there is a drill down ability, so you can click on the dollar amounts and deep dive into those and see what made them up. So if you're ever kind of wondering how those numbers, arrived to those different values, that's exactly what you can do here on these reports. You can just kind of click and drill down and look at that. Going down here for taxes, so Schedule F report, that is also kind of ready to go. So again, if you pick out the entity for this and hit update, because you, and my date range is wrong here, which is why it's all blank. But if I put the right date range here in the entity, you'll see that this Schedule F, the numbers are automatically being filled in for me. And so if I make my way back to the account register, this is really where all the day-to-day stuff happens in Traction. So you'll pick out in my case, my Huntington checking account. This checking account is tied to my Stark Farms entity. So any transactions that happen here on this particular screen for Huntington checking automatically gets assigned to the entity. For example, so I have quite a few transactions in here already. I have some with a little warning symbol on the left. If you're kind of wondering why they're there, it's because I have the bank connected. So we just take the memo from the bank, we grab the date that it cleared the bank, the memo, and the amount, and that it's cleared. So at some point, you do have to click on these transactions and fill them out. And what I mean by that is you assign the correct vendor here. We'll pick Trueland Equipment, and this was repair expense. And again, this is why the chart of accounts is so important to get right. This was for parts. The piece that I really want to focus on here is this allocation, and this is what really makes Traction a very strong product to really track where those dollars are going to. So whether it's fields or equipment, you can assign them to to that machine, for example, and track that cost going to that machine. And Traction does a great job throughout the year of tracking the total expense to a tractor and even taking that expense and pushing it back to the fields that it was used on. And really deep diving into the field profitability report, which is what we like to do. The memo here, again, this came from the bank here, but I could go ahead and just change that and say repairs for the John Deere tractor. If you had a receipt or any sort of paper document of this, you can hit the click here button, attach a PDF to the transaction. That would be another way to kind of manage all that paper. We'll hit save, and on the very top here, you'll see that actually. Yeah, yeah, there it is, $164. So It's the little warning symbol disappeared there, so that's kind of let me know the transaction is complete. I'm completely done with that transaction, and I'm ready to move on to the next one. So you can do transactions that way by just hitting the little warning symbol there and putting the details in if you have a bank or credit card connected. If you don't have those things connected in the upper right corner, it's another way of doing it. You can hit the add new button. You can do a new deposit, new payment. So here you can pick out the contact from the drop-down list. Let's say Tommy Coltman. I had the $3,700 rent check payment for his fields that we cash rented. And so again, you can pick out the account that it relates to. And this is for 25 acres of cash rent. For this particular one, we are going to pick out the field that it belongs to. So that Coltman field is 25 acres. Right there it is. And we are all done. Hit save and close. Transaction is complete. So that's just kind of running through some things on the transaction side. And again, going back to the field records before we kind of end today's webinar, I want to go through that a little bit more. On the left-hand side, you have these different options on the left. So you have field ops. We've got field records. So if I click on field records, these are completed field records that I've already entered into Traction. And so you do have this import queue button, and this works very similar to the Keystone integration for bills. The fact that you can have all your John Deere records in here to be approved, sitting there in the queue. So I don't have mine showing up quite yet, but that's where you'd see that. And so if I go back to field records, and today I'm just going to do a manual field record. We'll do a manual field record, and we'll say it's a seeding record. And we will pick out that Coltman field, that 25.5 acres. And the date range here, I'll just go ahead and back it up to, let's say it was May. You can put in the weather conditions and such. Just like that. Hit next. For a manual record here, I'm going to pick out the seed variety. We'll pick out this one here. It's based on the rate that I'm shooting for. It says this is the number of bags that should be applied to the field. If for whatever reason that would be wrong, you can go ahead and change that if you like. I'm going to add just a couple of other things here. One of them is that strike that we did for that bill from Keystone that we brought over. So it brought over all my inventory now once I approve it, and I can now assign it to my field record. And I'm just going to pick out one more thing here. Same can be said for MAP or potash or fertilizer. We can add this to the field record, hit next. We even assign the equipment to the field record. So if you wanted to pick out the tractor, maybe this one right here, the Kinsey planter. We could even pick out a person to allocate to the field record. Again, I'm kind of going through here a little fast, but just for the sake of time, we'll hit next. We can add notes, hit save. But the program adds that field record for me here, and so I can kind of look at that anytime through this screen for that field record. But most importantly, if you would go back to your reports on the left and click on this field detailed report, this report here is very popular, and a lot of our customers love it because you can filter this by as many fields as you want. So if I want to uncheck all my fields and perhaps look at just one field, maybe that Coltman field, and hit apply and hit update. We didn't do a whole lot yet to this field, but we did a seed application, some fertilizer and such, some equipment was used. And it's giving you the actual cost to that field. So even down to the acre, our total cost per acre and total cost on the field. And it's shown everything here, even that rent check was allocated to that field. So you've got that $145 per acre charge to that field. And once we do a harvest on this field, it'll actually give you a break even per bushel on that field. So These field reports are quite nice. You can go here anytime. You can select multiple fields. I want to pick these two fields, hit apply, update, and just look at those two fields alone. You can kind of mix and match as much as you want on that field profitability report.
Brian, we've got one question in the chat right now. Do we use Traction to pay the bills, or are they connected to QuickBooks? Can the AP be standalone? And can rent be assigned to multiple fields?
Yeah, since we were just talking about rent, so if I go back to the account register, and we'll just pick out that Tommy Coltman cash rent transaction and just click on it. From that zone screen there, you can click on zones and you can pick multiple fields here. So that is no problem. And when you pick multiple items here, there'll be another screen that appears where you can kind of split things out. The first question there regarding paying bills. So that would be something that we don't connect to. We don't connect to QuickBooks at this time. So there has been some requests there where to make this even a little bit more automated, where you can pay this bill automatically through Traction. We're not there quite yet, but that's something that we are looking to do in the future. So kind of like a bill pay feature at some point down the road. Oh, okay. Probably the other two areas I wanted to just at least briefly touch on. One is a new feature that we launched last month. If you go to accounting, you do need to have the pro level. So, and maybe I should take it just one step back on this. So, with Traction, there's three different levels. There's basic, plus, and pro. And those three levels we have on our website. You can kind of see the different features of each one. Really, a lot of stuff that we've covered so far is in the middle product or pro, so plus or pro. The very basic level has really no integrations like with Keystone or John Deere. So if you want to get to that ability to connect things, you do got to have that plus level. But this particular feature that I'm going to talk about next is the budget. The budget is a new feature that we launched last month. We've had a lot of positive comments about this. And the great thing about the cash flow budget, and anytime we have new features and things, there's some cool videos and things that we try to train you how to use things in Traction. I want to hit done here. But if you wanted to create new budgets, it's easy to do. You just hit the new button. We can do a budget for 2025 or 2026. I don't have any 2026 information in there. So I'll just say 2025, and we will use the Stark Farms. But as you can see here, you can have a budget that has both entities or just one entity. And the cool thing about the cash flow budget is that you can have as many budgets as you want. There is no limit. So you can do all sorts of different scenarios with Traction. We want to copy the balances. And so this is just a great starting point here. So you can hit the edit button. And this gives you some ability to fill in the values here for each of those accounts. And I guess I should have used 2026. So if I do add new here, pick Stark Farms. There we go. So it's actually copied 2025 values into my 2026 budget. So this is probably a much better example for you, but this has the actual values throughout the year. That's what you're seeing right here. If you hit the edit button, this is where you can go into here and you can change these values for 2026. And the cool part about this is showing you an ending cash position at the very bottom. So if you want to plan like an asset purchase, perhaps there's a machine that you want to buy that's going to cost you $50,000 in March of 2026, and you want to add some new debt in here. Maybe it's a new combine that you plan on purchasing. It's going to be $40,000 of new debt. We can do a loan, payments on that loan. So there's a lot of cool things here, and what I guess what I'm trying to get to is at the very bottom here, you have this cash position by month. So green is always good. That means you've got plenty of cash coming in. But if we had anything that was red that was showing up here, that would be a key indicator that we're definitely short that month, and we'll definitely need to maybe look at other methods to bring income into the farm. So this is something that we've done in the past with FarmWorks actually. This is definitely much more intuitive now with traction. But that was something I at least wanted to point out to you that's fairly new. That feature does require the pro level. So if you don't have the pro, the highest level, then you won't have that feature. The cash flow is connected. So yes, so everything is connected. But as you put the budget numbers in, that all is manual. So for 2026, obviously you are filling in the budget. And then if you go up the very top here and do budget versus actual, the actual numbers are being filled in for you. So as you put in actual numbers into Traction, it will compare budgeted versus actual. Any other questions? This is some good questions here. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, my goal today was not to take up a ton of your time. Really, my thought was to go over the Keystone integration, show some examples of how that works, and then show some other reports that are kind of tied in with that, and really show you the complete circle from, bringing a bill in to how it automatically adjusts your inventory, and then assigning that inventory through a field record, either a manual record or a machine integration, and tying that right back down to the field level, so that way you can track, where your dollars are going to. Can you print checks to pay bills from this software? Yes. So if you were to go to your account register and do a add new purchase or new payment, yeah. So if you pick out the contact up here, let's say it was Hake Farm Services, and we're actually printing a check. I've been using this default option, do not print checks, but there is an option here to print check. So just make sure you hit print check. If we filled out everything here, and we'll just keep this actually very simple here. I'm not going to pick out the inventory here. I'll just pick out seed expense, $25,000. If I hit print check and hit save close, this little check printing option box will pop up on your screen. And you might have to, the very first time you do this, you might want to use a blank piece of paper, because you can reprint checks a second time if you need to. That first time, just to kind of get things lined up, can be a little bit tricky. So this is kind of giving that ability to kind of adjust the check, but I'll just hit the print button. What happens, it will show the check up on the screen when you kind of do this, and give you that last chance before you hit the print button. But yes, you can print checks with Traction. Good question. Just kind of finalize things here for today. We do have some other upcoming webinars, so we actually have one tomorrow. I think there's some people today that don't have Traction. There is a really nice webinar tomorrow that you don't have to be a Traction customer to get value from it. Taryn on our team is going to be going through that and just kind of go through like the best practices and reports and things that make year-end tax planning go a little bit easier for you. And that webinar is tomorrow. You can sign up for that. We also have the ability to take care of your 1099s and Traction, and that's actually that's in the basic level even. of traction. We have a couple of webinars that go through how to do that and spend a whole, I think, at least 30 minutes going over how to do that with Tax 1099 and how the integration works. That way, if you have someone else doing your 1099s for you today, you might find this appealing. It probably could save you a few dollars just by doing it in Traction. All the webinars, we'll continue to create new ones for you, but they all can be found on our website. If you're to go down to the very bottom, the footer area, there's a webinar events button you can click on, and there you can see a list of the running webinars that you can sign up for. Other than that, I don't have anything else for you. So I've not seen any other questions come through here, Chris. So I think we're good to go. So yeah, appreciate you all joining today and hope to see you at a future webinar. Thank you.